Jax's revenge domain. I sat in that windowless conference room watching Spencer deliver the news like he was reading the weather forecast. We're letting you go, Lance. Found someone who'll do your job for half what we pay you. Economics, you understand? He had this habit of dropping bombs and then smiling like that smile would somehow make it okay. Same grin he used when he needed me to stay late or explain our distribution system for the 100th time. My name is Lance Patterson. I'm 48 years old. I've been working since I was 16 and I know what work looks like. You show up, you handle what needs handling, you solve problems, you go home. This job at Mid-Atlantic Distribution meant something to me. Not because I loved logistics or supply chain management, but because I'd built something that worked. Because suppliers knew my name. Because when something broke, I could fix it. Because my 17-year-old son, Garrett, had food on the table and college tuition money in the bank. Thing is, I needed this job more than most people knew. The divorce 2 years back had hit me hard financially. Legal fees, splitting assets, setting up a new place, it all added up fast. Plus, Garrett's looking at colleges now, and those application fees alone are killing me. State schools are running $25K a year these days. Even with what I'd saved, losing this income would mess everything up. 11 years I'd given this place. When I started, the distribution centers were a complete disaster. Auto parts scattered wherever there was space. Summer inventory buried under winter stock in July. Brake pads mixed in with transmission parts. Suppliers threatening to drop us because orders kept getting screwed up. Nobody wanted the operations position because it looked impossible. I took it because I needed the job. Single dad, kid in high school, bills that didn't care about my feelings. Those first 8 months, I worked until midnight most nights. I learned every part we carried: brake components, transmission systems, engine, parts, electrical components. Figured out where each came from, how fast it moved, which suppliers delivered on time, and which ones you had to stay on top of. Learned that seasonal parts needed to rotate through different zones based on demand cycles. That bulk orders from certain dealerships needed special handling because they'd order 200 brake pad sets 1 week and nothing for 3 months. The chemistry stuff was tricky too. Some brake fluids couldn't be stored near certain rubber seals. They'd break down the compounds. Temperature-sensitive electronic components had to stay in climate-controlled zones. Seems obvious now, but nobody had thought about it before. I built tracking systems that actually worked. Nothing fancy, just functional. Color-coded zones in each distribution center, blue for brake systems, red for engine parts, yellow for electrical, green for transmission components. Created rotation schedules that made sense. If winter tires were going to move in October, you started positioning inventory in August, not scrambling in September like everyone else. The supplier relationships took the longest to fix. These guys had been burned by our screw-ups for years. I spent months on the phone with procurement managers explaining how we were changing things, proving we could be reliable. Had to eat some costs early on, expedited shipping when we messed up, credits for late deliveries that weren't even our fault originally. But slowly, they started trusting us again. Took 2 years before everything ran smooth. After that, it just worked. Parts flowed in and out, numbers balanced. Suppliers stopped complaining. Regional dealerships knew they could count on us for fast turnaround. The previous manager, some guy named Richards, used to tell people Lance makes it look easy. That's when I started meeting with Preston Thompson, the regional director. Good guy, been with the company 25 years. Started as a warehouse worker, worked his way up. We'd grab coffee every few months at this little diner near Distribution Center 1. Nothing fancy, just coffee and conversation. Preston understood operations from the ground up. He'd ask real questions. How's the new brake supplier working out? Any issues with the dealership consolidation? What do you need to handle the summer rush? Guy actually listened to the answers. You know what I like about you, Lance, he said one time. You don't just manage inventory. You think like a business owner. You see how everything connects. That meant something coming from him. Preston had built his reputation on understanding operations, not just managing spreadsheets. Then Spencer showed up 2 years ago. Corporate transferred him from another division. Gave him the whole operation. He had an MBA from some university and used words like optimize and streamline in every meeting. Never asked me how the system worked. Never wanted to learn the details. Just wanted reports that made him look good when he talked to his bosses. Get me the Q3 numbers. I need a breakdown by category. Make it presentable. I did it every time because that was my job. But Spencer had this attitude like the work happened by magic, like anyone could do what I did. He'd tell people at meetings, the operations basically run themselves now. Very simple system. Simple. Right. 11 years of knowledge packed into routines that looked simple because I'd made them that way. Spencer didn't see any of that. He saw a salary line he could cut to make his numbers look better. We've already hired your replacement, he said, still wearing that smile. Starts Monday. You've got until end of day to clear out and transition your duties. Transition to who? I said. You said he starts Monday. Today is Thursday. Write down what he needs to know. Shouldn't take long. You've always said the system is straightforward. I never said that. He said that. But arguing wouldn't change anything. Spencer had already decided probably weeks ago. This conversation was just paperwork. Fine, I said. His smile flickered. Think he expected me to beg, maybe ask for another chance. I didn't give him that satisfaction. I walked back to my workstation. Not an office, just a desk with some filing cabinets where I kept binders full of supplier contacts, seasonal schedules, part specifications. 11 years of information that couldn't be written down in an afternoon. But I tried. Pulled out a notebook and started writing. Supplier names, phone numbers, which ones needed orders placed 3 weeks early, which ones ran late and needed buffer time. AutoZone Corporate wanted their brake pad orders by the 15th of each month or they'd cancel. Napa Regional needed transmission fluid deliveries on Tuesdays only because of their receiving schedule. O'Reilly's distribution center had loading dock restrictions, nothing over 40 feet. Which parts had special storage requirements, which dealerships were difficult to work with, how to handle the rotation system, when to start moving seasonal inventory. Winter tires needed to be positioned by September. Summer air conditioning parts had to rotate out by October, or they'd sit until next year. 4 pages in, I realized how pointless this was. The person replacing me wouldn't understand any of this without context, without seeing how it worked in real time, without making the mistakes and learning from them like I did. Spencer walked by once. How's it coming? It's coming. He nodded and kept walking. Nobody else said much. A few people glanced over. They knew. Word spreads fast in a place like this, but nobody wanted to get involved. Everyone had bills. Everyone needed their job. I got that. Around 3 o'clock, I finished writing what I could, packed my personal items into a cardboard box, coffee mug Garrett made in shop class 5 years ago. Thing was ugly as hell, but I used it every day. Jacket I kept here for when the warehouses got cold. Some photos, small plant that somehow survived despite terrible lighting. Not much to show for 11 years. I thought about Preston. We had coffee scheduled for today, 4 o'clock. We always did late afternoon because his mornings were packed with meetings. Should I tell him I got fired or just cancel? Decided to go home. I'd text him later, explain what happened. He'd understand. Might even put in a word for me somewhere else in the company. Carried my box through the building. Past people working. Past the break room where I'd eaten lunch for 11 years, past the bulletin board with safety reminders and birthday announcements. Spencer wasn't around when I left, probably in a meeting taking credit for cutting costs. Loaded the box into my car and drove home. 25-minute drive through traffic. Same route I'd taken thousands of times. Didn't feel angry exactly, just empty, like someone had punched a hole through my chest and I was supposed to keep moving anyway. At home, I put the box down, made coffee, sat on the couch. Garrett was at football practice. House felt too quiet. Started thinking about money. Mortgage payment due in 2 weeks. Garrett's college applications were due next month. Application fees for 8 schools, $75 each. His car needed new tires before winter. My phone started buzzing. Preston. I stared at it, let it ring. He'd leave a message. Rang again. Again. On the 4th ring, I answered. "Where are you?" Preston said. No greeting. His voice had an edge. "We have the quarterly review in 30 minutes. Your boss keeps saying you quit. What's going on?" "I didn't quit," I said. "Spencer fired me this morning. Said he found someone who'd work for less." Silence. I could hear Preston breathing. Background noise. Voices. "He what?" "Fired me. Told me to pack my things and write transition notes for my replacement." "I'm looking at the schedule right now," Preston said. His voice had changed. Harder. "You're on here. Quarterly operations review, 4 o'clock. We do this every 3 months. Lance, You've never missed one. I know. I was planning to come. Then Spencer called me into his office and told me I was done. More silence. Then, stay near your phone. He hung up. I sat there holding my coffee. It had gone cold. Outside, I could hear kids playing, someone starting a lawnmower. Normal sounds, normal Thursday afternoon for everyone else. My phone buzzed. Text from Preston. What's your boss's direct number? I sent it. Then I waited. 20 minutes passed. Tried not to imagine what was happening. Preston calling Spencer. Spencer realizing he'd made a massive mistake. But what could Preston do? Spencer was management. He had authority to hire and fire within his division. My phone rang. Unknown number. Hello, Lance. This is Nicole from HR. I'm calling about a termination that was processed today under your employee number. Can you confirm you met with Spencer Walsh this morning? Yeah. And he informed you of termination? Yeah. Did he provide documentation? Severance information? No. Just told me to pack my things. I heard typing. I see. And did he cite performance issues, disciplinary actions? He said they found someone cheaper, more typing, longer this time. Okay. Thank you. Someone will contact you shortly. She hung up. Something shifted right then. Not hope, but close. An hour later, Spencer called. I almost didn't answer, but curiosity won. Lance. His voice sounded different, tight, like he was forcing the words out. There's been a misunderstanding. We need you back immediately. I said nothing. There was a communication issue with HR. Your termination wasn't properly authorized. We need you to return tomorrow morning. What happened to your better candidate? That fell through. Look, this was a mistake. We value your contributions. You're essential to operations. Essential. He'd never used that word before. Never used any word that suggested I mattered. The director wants the operations reports, Spencer continued, for the quarterly review. You have all the data. Nobody else can pull it together in time. Nobody else. Because he'd fired the person who knew how. I'll think about it, I said. Lance, please. I need an answer now. We have obligations, contracts. The quarterly review is critical for regional planning. You didn't care about that this morning. I made an error in judgment. It happens. But we can fix this. Come back. We'll discuss a raise, better benefits. I didn't go back that day or the next. Let Spencer sit with his mistake. Preston called me that evening. I want you to understand what's happening, he said. I didn't fire Spencer. I'm not transferring him. I'm doing something else. What? Promoting him. Effective immediately. He's personally responsible for all 4 distribution centers. Direct oversight, no support staff, no transition period. Every decision goes through him. Every mistake falls on him. And he needs to produce the quarterly reports you usually handle by himself. I didn't know what to say. He told corporate anyone could do your job, Preston continued. So now he gets to prove it. He wanted to cut costs? Fine. He can manage the system himself and save your salary. Preston, that system took me 11 years to build. He doesn't know how it works. I know. He's about to learn that. What about the operations? The distribution centers? They'll survive. Might get messy for a while. But Spencer made a decision that affects my region. He eliminated someone critical without consulting me, without understanding what he was losing. That has consequences. After Preston hung up, I felt weird. Not happy exactly, not satisfied, just aware that something big had shifted. Spencer called me 6 more times that night. I didn't answer. Next day, I got a call from Distribution Center 2. Keith, one of the shipping guys. Hey, is this Lance? Listen, I know you're not here anymore, but we have a problem. There's a shipment of brake pads that needs to go out today, and nobody knows where they're stored. Your boss is tearing through Zone C, but I'm pretty sure that's transmission. Parts. Zone A, I said. Back corner, blue labels. Thanks, man. He's been looking for 2 hours. Keith hung up. 20 minutes later, another call. Different distribution center. Supplier delivery came in wrong. Parts they didn't order. Nobody knew who to contact to fix it. I walked them through it. Then another call, and another. Spencer's voice got more desperate each time. Please, everything's falling apart. Nothing's where the reports say it should be. Suppliers are calling about missed orders. The replacement you mentioned. He quit. Walked out after 4 hours. Said the job was nothing like I described. What did you describe? Data entry. Simple inventory tracking. I didn't know it was this complex. You made it look easy. That word again, easy. You never asked how it worked, I said. You just wanted it to work. I'm asking now. Come back. Name your price. I thought about it, going back, taking the raise, returning to something familiar. But I'd spent 11 years building a system for someone who didn't value it, who thought I was replaceable, who smiled while he fired me. No, I said. Lance, please. The regional review is in 2 days. Preston is demanding full reports, supplier analyses, zone efficiency breakdowns, part movement tracking. I don't even know what half of that means. You should have learned when you had the chance. I hung up. Over the next week, I watched from a distance as everything fell apart. Friends still working there would text me updates. Parts getting shipped to wrong dealerships, seasonal inventory sitting in zones where it would degrade, suppliers threatening to drop contracts because orders were chaotic. Spencer was working 16-hour days trying to fix it. He'd call me at midnight, voice raw from exhaustion, begging for help. I'd answer sometimes, give him small pieces of information, enough to keep things from completely collapsing, not enough to save him. One night he called crying, actually crying. I screwed up, Lance. I really screwed up. I thought I understood the business, but I don't understand anything. No, I said. You don't. Preston called once during that week. You doing okay? Yeah. I know this situation isn't ideal. The distribution centers are struggling, but Spencer needs to understand what he threw away, what you built. Some people only learn through consequences. What if he doesn't figure it out? Then we'll make other arrangements. But that's not your problem anymore. You gave 11 years. You don't owe us anything else. He was right. I didn't. I started applying to other positions, different companies, different industries, places where operations management mattered, where experience counted for something. 3 weeks after Spencer fired me, I got an offer. Regional automotive supplier, smaller company called Precision Auto Parts. They needed someone to organize their distribution network. Better pay than I'd made before. Flexible hours. Boss who asked questions and actually listened to answers. I accepted. Spencer called when he found out. Someone must have told him, "You're really leaving?" What am I supposed to do? Figure it out like I did 11 years ago when nobody wanted this job. That's different. You had time to learn. I had time because I took it. Nobody handed me knowledge. I built it. You could have learned any time. You chose not to. He went quiet then. I'm sorry. I didn't understand what you did. I thought it was just managing lists. I know. If you come back, I'll do better. I'll learn. I'll support you properly. Spencer, you fired me. You looked me in the face and said you found someone better. You can't take that back. You can't undo showing me exactly how much I meant to this place. It was a business decision. Everything's a business decision until it affects you personally. Now you're living with yours. I hung up, blocked his number, started my new job the following Monday. My new boss was a guy named Bradley Morrison. Family had owned Precision Auto Parts for 30 years. Guy walked me through the facility personally first day, showed me every area, introduced me to every person, asked me what I needed to succeed. Time, I said. Time to learn your products, your suppliers, your processes. This won't be instant. I know, Bradley said. That's why we're hiring you. We need someone who understands this takes work. Nice change. Finally working for someone who got it. The facility was chaos when I started. Not as bad as my old place had been 11 years ago, but close. Parts scattered, no clear organization system, suppliers frustrated by constant ordering mistakes. I'd seen this before, knew how to fix it. Started the same way I had years earlier. Learning every product, talking to everyone who worked there, understanding the flow, where things came from, where they needed to go, what slowed the process down. Took me 3 months to build a working system. Color-coded zones, rotation schedules, supplier relationships rebuilt, reports that actually tracked what mattered. Bradley checked in regularly, not hovering, just present. How's it going? What do you need? Any obstacles I can remove? That's what good management looked like. Someone who understood that helping employees succeed was how you succeeded. About 8 months after I started, Bradley called me into his office. We're expanding, opening a second facility across town. I want you to oversee operations for both locations. Build the new system from the ground up. Train someone to help you manage it. Promotion. More responsibility, more money, more recognition. I'm in, I said. Building the second facility system felt great. Like creating something from nothing, knowing it would work because I understood what made systems work. I hired an assistant, young guy named Cameron Phillips, 24. Eager to learn, asked questions constantly, wanted to understand not just what to do, but why. Training him reminded me of myself 11 years earlier. Within 6 months, he was handling daily operations while I focused on bigger picture stuff. That's what succession should look like. Not firing someone and hoping their replacement figures it out, but deliberately building knowledge, passing it on, creating systems that survive beyond one person. I heard later that Spencer lasted another month before Preston finally removed him. Not fired, transferred to a smaller location, single distribution center, no direct reports, basically demoted while keeping his title. They brought in someone new to run the division, someone who understood operations, who spent the first month just learning the system I'd built, talking to suppliers, understanding why things were arranged certain ways. One afternoon, about a year after I'd been fired, I was checking a shipment when my phone rang. Unknown number. Lance, this is Keith. From your old job. I don't know if you remember me. I remember. How are you? I'm good. Listen, I'm calling because I'm leaving the company. Found something else, and I wanted to thank you before I go. Thank me for what? You probably don't remember, but 4 years ago, I made a huge mistake. Mixed up 2 shipments. Cost the company thousands. I thought I'd be fired. You came and found me in the loading area. I was panicking. You said mistakes happen. Let's fix it. You stayed 3 hours after your shift helping me sort it out. Never told anyone it was my fault. I remembered, vaguely. Seemed like the right thing to do at the time. Keith was a good worker. One mistake didn't define him. When you got fired, I felt sick. We all did. You'd helped so many of us over the years, and the company just threw you away. I wanted you to know that we noticed, we remembered. And I'm not the only one who's left since then. A lot of people have, because if they could do that to you, they could do it to anyone. Over the next few months, I heard similar stories, people reaching out, thanking me, telling me they'd moved on to better situations. Some had taken positions at my new company. Others had different paths entirely. Bradley mentioned it once. You know, we've hired 4 people from your old company in the past year. They all say the same thing, that you showed them what good work looked like. Garrett's in college now, state school, studying engineering. When people ask him what his dad does, he tells them I run operations for an automotive supplier. Says it with pride, like it matters. Because it does matter. The work matters. The people matter. And sometimes when a company forgets that, the best thing that can happen is getting pushed towards something better.